Ensign Tendi has perfected dislocating her jaw. Ensign Mariner is like a little sweet baby captain. And, camera really does add 10 pounds. 10 frowns, that is. Hey, everybody, welcome to the 7th Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and I actually meant to say 10 frowns, but I still automatically said pounds and ruined it. But we're powering through anyway. I ruined the joke. My name is Ryan T. Husk. We're doing a review of Lower Decks Season 3, Episode 9, Trusted Sources, written by Ben M. Waller, directed by Phil Mark Sagadraka. How are you today, Cirroc?
Doing good.
Also, this episode is special thanks to Barnett Sue. Thank you very much, Barnett. This episode is for you. I love that line. The camera adds 10 frowns. Silly things like that is like gold. I swear that might have been my favorite line of the whole episode. I loved it. I'm sorry that I butchered it, but it was beautiful.
It was one of my favorite lines. My favorite line was no. But no, I have lived in a cave though.
Yeah.
I love that whole "I have lived in a cave" line, and the way he delivered it. I thought that was hilarious. No, this was a good episode. Once again, they just keep making these episodes. It's like a sitcom. It's the sitcom of Star Trek, right? And this is the parents are coming over to dinner episode. When you watch, TGIF back in the day, they always had these kind of episodes where somebody's coming over and you have to, be on your best behavior and things got to look right.
Yeah, you're right. Like the parents are coming, or the in-laws, or there's something. They're like, oh my God, we got to clean up the place, and they're never going to believe that. Whatever.
Yes. So they did that kind of a storyline. It's like one of those Full House episodes or something to that effect. But I really like the fact that they made Mariner because the whole time I'm watching this episode, I'm like, you're screwing this up again, Mariner. Like another screw up. Like seriously, you're going to jeopardize your team and your mom, who's the captain. So I was thinking, just like everybody else, and where the story was leading us to, that she was, messing things up and sabotaging the whole thing. Yeah. I like how they made her the kind of hero of the story.
Misunderstood. And I was the same way. I mean, we're led to believe that, like, obviously Mariner gonna Mariner, or her line was Carol gonna Carol. That was funny. But it's a great twist, and it makes her, I mean, of course she should have just said, oh no, I didn't say anything, I was actually saying a bunch of really nice stuff, but then that wouldn't really work with the storyline. And then she left with that. I think that was the British lady that they met, the British archaeologist lady that they met a few episodes ago at the recruitment day or whatever the heck it was, right?
So yes, that's cool. Where they met. Yeah, that's where they met. I was wondering, where did they meet? That was at the recruitment day, and she was always.
We knew they were going to stay friends, because remember, she was like going to delete the contact at the end, but she's like, save contact or something like that. So we knew we were going to see the British archaeologist again.
Yeah. Another very good little twist at the end, where they did a little callback to character they already introduced, who was a loner and kind of the anti-Federation character who was always talking smack at the the recruitment episode. So yeah, I thought that was a good twist as well.
So there were a lot of things I noticed. The storyline that they used, the second contact, the first contact, they mentioned Picard, a non-appearance mentioned for Picard. That was the episode Symbiosis. I looked it up. It was actually episode 22 of season 1, because I knew it was an earlier one, but that's what it was. And they basically gave us the gist of that episode, so we don't really need to go too deep into that, but that's what it was about. but that was a season 1 episode, Symbiosis. So this was kind of like a continuation of that. Also, this reporter lady looked very familiar, but I couldn't place it. So anybody in the live chat or in the comments or whatever, let us know if you recognize this character or if you just recognize her outfit. Like, it just looked familiar to. She does have the CBS logo though, right there, if you'll notice. So
I didn't see that.
Sneaky little thing. Maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe she just looks like someone from Next Generation or something like that. But that's what she makes me think of. She makes me think of some Next Generation episode that I can't place. So let us know. We also saw our buddy Admiral Buenamigo again. If you'll recall, the actor that plays Buenamigo is the father of the girl that plays Rock Talk in Prodigy.
Oh, is that right? Okay,
yeah,
that's a nice little gem.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him.
Yeah,
he's a good friend of ours, a buen amigo.
That's right. What a good friend.
Yeah, no, I like this character. They also kind of did the FNN. They brought back the FNN, the Federation News Network, which we saw a little bit of in season 1 of Picard, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
I think they use the same reference to FNN.
I think so.
When the reporter was, when the reporter was interviewing,
first episode,
yeah, Picard. I do believe that reporter was also reporting from FNN, which was interesting because I guess there's only one news network for the Federation. They don't really deviate. There's no alternate source to get your news. Like, you work for FNN, or that's about it.
Yeah, I think, it definitely wasn't Picard. You're right. Yeah, that was them.
Yeah.
Although every time they say a reporter is coming, I always get pissed off that it's not Jake Sisko, but it's okay. I'll heal. I will heal, but
it's the obvious fit. I actually think of it too when I see any type of reporter. I'm like, well, it seems like Jake would be in that department right about now.
Yeah.
But there were some good jokes in this episode. I thought Rutherford was hilarious when he went through the whole, I've been starving myself for this podcast.
My body needs crust.
Yeah. And then also when he was panicking over cleaning up his station, he's like, my station's in the transporter buffer. I wonder if it's clean in there.
Yeah. Well,
I did like this episode.
You know the truth, though, and everybody knows. Glutes are cutes, but obliques are for freaks. Right?
Yeah, we all know that one workout guy that's annoying.
And squats are for, I don't know, bots. I don't know. But yeah, no, Rutherford was great. That scene was excellent. They also talked about like sugary diarrhea or something like that. Oh, I also thought it was cool when they mentioned Tendi said, I've got some Samnusian root that'll knock us out for a while. Now, Samnusian probably comes from the, anything that's like SOMNU usually means like put you to sleep, like somnambulist, or that the SOM is something that knocks you out or puts you to sleep. So I thought that was an interesting. It's always cool when they have they're going to make up something, but they're like, what's the closest word that makes it make sense? So they use like these Latin origins or something like that, to where like when they did the thing with warpigami or something, like folding space, warp origami, you know what I mean? Like, they're still trying to come up with, rather than just making something out of thin air, they're trying to make it kind of work with our natural language or lexicon.
Yeah, I remember the whole warpigami explanation. He's like, yeah, no, I get it. That was another good little joke in there. But yeah, no, I did notice that they do some of that, when you mentioned it. Yeah, they'll take Latin root words, and try to rearrange them and scramble it to make it sound.
Right. Well, let's ditch the pomp. What the heck does that mean? A ditch the pomp. I've never heard that. And the Shax and Ransom were like, ditch the pomp. I don't know. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Really?
Usually they call it pomp and circumstance. So they say, all this pomp and circumstance. They would say it. That used to be the phraseology of it. So if you were going to do it in its complete sense, it would be like, hey, let's ditch the pomp and circumstance and get right to the facts. So the pomp is like referring to like all the fluffy conversation of like, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm really good. And everything's really good over here. And say, all right, let's cut to the chase. It's basically a cut to the chase kind of phraseology.
Let's dispense of the pleasantries. That's right. Star Wars. Says that.
It's that. It's the dispensing of pleasantries. Yes. So I've heard of pomp before and ditching the pomp. Yeah.
Weird.
My favorite thing, though, my favorite thing was the mural when they went to the planet of Aranza or something.
Yeah.
Or Naza or whatever, or Nara. And they're like, yeah, no, everything's cool. When Picard left, we made this great mural of him leaving. Right? And they show the ship leaving out, and they're all like, hey, bye. And then they cut to the other. And this is the part when we had no drugs and everybody went crazy. You see how this.
Somebody in the Lower Decks Facebook group actually posted the full mural. Check this out. Here it is. Right, this is the goodbye. This is the anger town, and then this is who knows what's going on anymore. But
just scribble scrabble.
Yeah, that's the whole.
And then it goes right back into like the old school like atlas type of looking drawing.
There's a naked person here.
Naked person flexing. A naked person jumping. What is it? The triathlon? Oh yeah, athletes. So they all turned into athletes. That's right. And all in yoga pants and doing Schwarzenegger poses.
Yes. So that's good mural, good catch by everybody there. Boy, these faces are crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of scribbling.
Yeah, so when they went through the withdrawal period, they still kept doing the mural, apparently. No, I did like that. That was funny. And, we're addicted to working out. I was like, yeah, I know a lot of people like that.
Also, another thing I noticed was frame of mind was mentioned. Frame of mind, Mariner said something like, what is this? Some kind of crazy frame of mind stuff? And that was a Next Generation episode where Riker kind of goes crazy. And not one of my favorite episodes. I remember when I saw it a long time ago, I remember it came on and I was like, oh, right, this episode. Yeah, I remember that. It's one of those where you're like, oh boy, am I gonna watch this? But I'd have to revisit it again, but I haven't seen it in so long. But that's what she was talking about, was kind of, Riker was like going crazy. It was kind of like gaslighting to the highest degree. And, he's going nuts. And so that's why she mentioned that.
Yeah, and Mariner had another good line. She said, did I just wake up in some kind of bad dream, or am I hooked up to like a neural drain? And the reply was, no, the only neural drain here is you. I thought that was a
zinger.
Good little comeback. Nice little comeback. Did you notice that in that one scene where they were under attack by the Breen ships? And
by the way, the Breen showed up. We should have led with that. That's nuts. It's Breen week, you guys. Everybody, flash the lights. Tell your grandmas it's Breen week, everybody. We're talking about the Breen in our Deep Space Nine reviews. We're talking about the Breen here. How surprised were you when they showed up, Cirroc?
I was very surprised because I had only just learned about the Breen like not too long ago. Yeah. So the Breen just popped up on my radar. And Lower Decks keeping up with its tradition, especially for this season, paying a lot of homage to Deep Space Nine and their storylines. Bringing in Kira and Quark and visiting Deep Space Nine, the station itself. You had Rutherford dressed up like me. There were a lot of. They were eating at Sisko's, I think, at one point. So they've been paying homage to Deep Space Nine a lot. And now, even with the Breen, and they talked about, they made a line here. She said, "I haven't seen the Breen since the Dominion War." So then they brought up the Dominion War reference exactly. So I was saying to myself, "Wow, how timely is it that I'm totally. At least I'm up to date on all of these references." But also, shout out to Mike McMahon for keeping Deep Space Nine storylines alive and making those continuations on those stories that were created at our time.
Yeah, it was really nice of Mike to wait to put in the Breen references until after you've seen those episodes, because I heard that he wanted to do it in the second season, but then people told him no, Cirroc isn't caught up to where the Breen are yet, so they waited for the end of the third season. Really cool. Shout out to Mike McMahon for doing that. I also thought it was cool that they showed the Breen's cool, energy weapon. Remember that we saw in a recent episode. And so that was really cool just to see all of that, the details from Deep Space Nine, not just mentioning the Breen or showing them, but like the details about them that we'd learned. Really cool. I love that stuff. I love their attention to detail on this show. And
the episode was Strange Bedfellows, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the episode where we saw the energy weapons.
Yeah. And I hope that they continue to incorporate the Breen. Like, we've got one more episode in this season. I hope that the Breen weren't just some like one little one-off thing just to give them an enemy. I hope they're in the next episode. I hope it's kind of like an ongoing situation or an ongoing, plot. That would be great to kind of know. Well, I guess they might not, though, because they were mostly incorporated just because they had taken over that planet. But hopefully there's more to it. I would love to see more of the Breen. And it'd be great if they explore them further than Deep Space Nine did. That'd be also cool.
Yeah, and you also can say for this episode, they brought in, essentially, they are tying Deep Space Nine and Next Generation. Because they went to the planet where Picard was in that episode that you mentioned, Symbiosis. Then they bring in the Breen, which is a DS9 thing. So you can see how, with the luxury of hindsight, how Mike McMahon can weave in these various storylines from the original Next Generation to Deep Space Nine, and now into 30 years into the future, into Lower Decks, or more than same timeline, but 30 years into the creative process future. So kudos to him for just keeping those stories aligned and finding ways to weave them together to come up with an all new story. We also had a reference with Quark too, as a matter of fact. So that was another thing in this episode.
I didn't catch the Quark one.
Yeah, that's when Shax was being interviewed, and he says, "You should have heard Quark scream." Oh, and then he says, "What were we talking about?"
Right.
What was the question? Yeah, so that was that moment there, and I thought, wow, so they're interviewed. So they're Quark again. They're bringing Quark back again. More references to him. So it's a big homage.
Yeah, I love all how much they're incorporating Deep Space Nine and Next Generation a lot. There was another. What was it? Oh, Buen Amigo said something to the effect of the government might be secretly run by kids or someone pretending to be the devil. Secretly run by kids may have been a reference to a Voyager episode, if I remember correctly, where the people they're like born old or something, and they reverse their age reverses and they get younger or something like that, and so they meet these kids and whatever, it's some weird thing. Or it could be a different Next Generation episode, but then also pretending to be the devil. I believe the character's name was Ardra. That was Next Generation. That was a really cool episode, or at least had a really interesting point to it. But that was that was one of the episodes that really stood out to me when I first started watching Star Trek. But that was, so certainly those were nods to previous episodes as well. And everybody in the comments below, let us know what were those episodes called? Because I don't remember. It's been quite some time. Actually, let's check.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, while you check that out, I was going to bring up a couple of my favorite lines, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, let's check. Our buddy Don Crandall sent in some Easter eggs. Let's see if he happened to bring that to our attention. Okay, he says, this episode sequelizes Symbiosis from Next Generation. Yeah. He said it's a great episode for the fans of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, since two of the actors from The Wrath of Khan acted in that episode Symbiosis. Okay, that's interesting. Mariner mentions the title of another episode, Frame of Mind. Yeah, oh man, this is great, Cirroc. This is a screenshot of Riker in the episode Frame of Mind that you may enjoy. People that have seen the episode will recognize it. That's just, he's like going, like, look at this guy is going for it. He is losing his marbles.
Yeah, he looks like he's full gone.
Also, let's see. Planet Beta 3 and Landru are mentioned again, having been showcased in Lower Decks No Small Parts episode. That episode sequelized a classic original series episode, Return of the Arucans. Okay, good to know there. Remember that episode. That's an old one. Oh, Perithian Bat, he mentions. Yes. Yeah, that was something I wanted to bring up. He says it was flying around with people trying to catch it in sickbay in an Enterprise episode called A Night in Sickbay. It was Dr. Phlox and Archer. I do remember that, the Perithian Bat mention. Okay, but no mention of those other things I was saying. So what were you saying about your favorite lines?
Just really quick to piggyback off the Perithian Bat, that would make two Star Trek or Trekkian nomenclatures in this episode. One was the Perithian Bat. The other one I saw was the Vidalan mummies.
Yeah, Vidal Sassoon.
Yeah, at the end when they said, "Hey, you want to go get some Vidalan mummies?" So I was like, "Oh, more nomenclature." And
yeah, and Mariner said something like, "Yeah, let's get our mummy on," or something like that. She said something fun.
Yes.
Actually,
so two lines I really quickly want to say that I thought were awesome. One of them was when Captain Freeman calls over to get Mariner back from Starbase 80, and she's talking to the guy who's in charge, and he's like, nope, she's not around. And she starts yelling at him, and he says, "Calm down, lady. You're not my captain." And I was just busting out when I heard that, because it's just, you never heard that. I've never heard that in it's like, hey,
you're somebody else.
Not my captain. Yeah, well, I don't have to take orders from you. So that was funny. But he kind of does. Yeah. It is a rank system. But I thought that was funny. And then the other thing was when Freeman says, "Hey, let's," she said, "spread out the artillery against the Breen," and the Breen shot up all the artillery, and Shaq said, "They covered the spread, Captain." And I don't know why I laughed. It was such a good joke for me.
It's a sports reference. I love it.
Sports joke. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. So those are my little lines that stood out.
Yeah, there were also, I'm going to toss out the trivioids right now. Okay. Just because we're not going to take a break. We're going to do one long segment here. And we had a lot of little trivioids that I enjoyed. And they go a little something like this. Starfleet has never considered the Cerritos' work a top priority until today. Let's ditch the pomp, which now I know what it means. I'll probably forget it by tomorrow. Captain Freeman wants the crew to do a bit of spring cleaning. The pie eating contest is coming soon. Ensign Mariner is like a little sweet baby captain. Captain Freeman gave the lower deckers next rotation to Alpha Shift. Carol gonna Carol. Ensign Tendi has perfected dislocating her jaw. Ensign Rutherford has been starving himself for days, and the camera really does add 10 frowns. And I think that was such a delicious joke for some reason.
It was a good joke.
I did like the dudes in the dirty ship, that picked her up for Starbase 80. And the dude opens up her thing and her uniform, and he goes, "Oh, my sandwich. See, I told you I didn't eat it." I don't know how dumb these guys are supposed to be.
Yeah. It played well. There's so many little good lines. When the belugas were like, "Hey, we love it here. We get all the fish we can eat." I thought like that was funny to be interviewing the whales. But there was one other thing that I thought was pretty big in this episode that may be big in for all of Star Trek, not just for this show. But they introduced a concept here which I don't think has been done before, at least to my knowledge. And that is the USS Alito, this Texas-class ship that is essentially has nobody aboard it.
Right.
And
never been done.
You would think, wow, this is kind of a new thing. Like it's basically a drone, an unmanned drone. And you would think, hey, this is something that Starfleet would have thought of a long time ago, right?
Right. To eliminate casualties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then it also makes you think, does it need to have a bridge? Does it need to have anything? Like, we don't need to beam aboard it. Don't need to be any quarters or chairs or anything like that.
Right.
In which case, it could be much smaller. You don't need all those quarters. You don't need an engine room.
Yeah, you don't
have
need
an engine without the room. Yeah. Don't need the bridge. Don't need the ready room. But they probably have something in case people do need to come aboard. Or maybe it's going to rescue people. Then you need some kind of cargo bay or something like that with couches, But yeah, that was really interesting. And so then it begs the question, well, what are the other two cities in Texas that they're going to use?
They used Alito, right? So
I've never even heard of Alito.
I thought that was the judge in the O.J. Simpson trial. It is
Lance Ito, yeah.
Ito. Okay, that was close. I don't know. But I did think it was cool that they had this unmanned ship kind of pop out of nowhere.
New concept.
You could see by the design of it, it did look sleek and kind of, it briefly crossed the screen, but I was like, oh, look at this ship. It's actually looks new and improved and kind of more modern or whatever. And there was some really good.
Yeah. And Buenamigo was happy to get that kind of attention. He's like, well, the new Texas class starship, and he's doing his whole thing. And they're like, what the hell's going on over here? It's almost like he planned it, right?
Yeah. Quick question. When the Breen were attacking the Cerritos and they engaged some kind of locking mechanism on it, and there was somebody there trying to like burn his way through the windows of the Cerritos. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
They melted a circular kind of looking thing into the window, and I was just wondering what that circular design pattern was supposed to like represent.
I didn't catch that. I didn't look too closely at that. And I kind of want to go back and see what that was.
Yeah, so the Breen had, they had the Cerritos dead to rights, and actually they were saying, how come they're not destroying us? Why are they just? And they attached some kind of a thing to the ship, and next thing you know, one of the Breens was trying to melt through the window or whatever, and he was melting a particular pattern into the window that I was thinking, is there a joke here that I'm missing? Because I felt like there was something there with that. Like, what are they trying to do? What are the Breen trying to do exactly by melting their way into the door instead of just blowing up the ship as it is? I couldn't figure that out. And then I couldn't figure out the joke in why the particular, why it wasn't just a straight circle, and why it looked like two eyes and a nose or a happy face or something that they were trying to make
Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing it now. Just took a quick look. Yeah, it was like a circle and then 3 circles in it. It may just be that that's just how their laser weapons were, but yeah, it looks like the wow emoji. It's like
Yeah, right.
like 2 round eyes and a
Yeah,
round mouth. It's
yeah.
funny.
That's like, is this like some kind of deep cut joke that I don't get? Is this like when you draw a smiley face on a dirty car? Are they doing one of those? Yeah, it's one of those wash me moments on the Cerritos. So I couldn't quite get what that was that they were trying to do, and what the joke was there, the underlying joke there. I couldn't figure it out. So
Yeah,
for
I'm
those of you that are
assuming
watching, you can leave us a little note on the description. I'd love to find out from you what you think that means, or
they sure do know more than we do. So
yeah.
So you guys let us know, is that a reference to something? Kind of looks like an emoji, but it also showed their weapon had 3 red spots. So like their weapons shoot like that, apparently. They shoot 3 lasers.
Right.
So maybe that's just how that design goes.
Right, but I mean, what was the point? Are you going to like siege the ship and send in a bunch of Breen into that hole? I couldn't understand the point of what they were trying to do with that hole being melted into the window, because they could just beam aboard or just blow the ship up together. I don't know what they were saying they were trying to accomplish in that moment.
Yeah, I think they were trying to board, and that's why Shax was saying like that, kill them because they're going to kill you. They don't take prisoners, stuff like that. But yeah, let us know in the comments. You guys clear us up. Sometimes people in the comments are like, it was obviously the fucking whatever. Let us know. Teach us.
Tell us.
We always want to learn. So we just have a couple minutes left before we got to run. But it was a fun episode. I love the reporter, Victoria. Let us know if that reporter is somebody that we're supposed to know, or if she reminds you guys of somebody, because maybe it was just what she was wearing and her hair look, but maybe that was just, they're just copying the styles from Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, So that's why that look reminded me of someone. Let's see. I think that was about it. Dude calls her Bucket Mariner. That was funny. He's like, Bucket Mariner. That made me giggle a little bit. And Miggly Mo calling his Meemaw or whatever it was. That was
I told you not to call me on this line.
Yeah. There was also one tiny little thing towards the end when the Breen were attacking on the bridge. It showed Victoria here, on the bridge, and they're shaking around. She was actually holding Captain Freeman's hand. Like she was reaching over, like holding her hand, like, what's gonna happen? I'm scared. So that was a fun. I went back and watched it like 3 times. I was like, is she holding her hand? It looks like she, like out of fear. I thought that was a nice little detail that was added there.
Yeah, I didn't see it that particular moment, but no, I thought the episode played well. And the woman who played this reporter did a good job too. I thought, of just being perky, and then played the "I got you" moment really well. When the time
that's
came.
what they like to do. Those sneakies.
I got you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we like to do. We like to say thanks. And those thanks go out to people named Homer Frizzell, Dr. Marie Segal, Eve England out in Wales, Yvette Blackmon-Tom, Carmen, a.k.a. Skillet, TJ, Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Timothy Baum, a.k.a. Grandpa One, Bill Victor Arucan, Titus Mohler, Tim Baum. Did I already say Tim Baum? I did, yeah. Sorry, Titus Mohler. Tim Baum gets 2. Titus Mohler gets 2. Actually, that's 3 for each now.
That's 3.
Darlena Marie, John Mann, Dr. Mohamed Noor wishes we would say it 3 times. Tierney C. Dieckmann, Anna Post, Rex A. Wood, Anil O. Palat, Erica Strom, Joe Balsarati, Mike Gu, DQ, Neil Akasaka, Justine Norton Kurtzen, Dr. Stephanie Baker, Carrie Schwent, Faith Howell, Edward Foltz, aka Crewman Guy, Radek Orszewski out in Southwest Poland, everybody knows, Henry Unger, live from Tokyo, and of course, Dr. Susan V. Gruner. That's a mouthful.
Sweet.
All right. So that's it for us. Let's say Timothy Baum and Titus Mohler one more time. So it'll be 4 now. We met our quota for the month.
Mohamed Noor. And it's 2.
There we go. He got his 3 then in total. All right. Yeah, that was fun. Any final thoughts before we go, Cirroc?
Keep your ears open.
Hell yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. And until next time, always remember the 7th rule. My blinds are coming in on me.